This is Matthew Cratter from Bitcoin University, and today I wanted to talk about Bitcoin crashing down to 26,000. I've been getting a lot of questions about this. This seems to have been triggered by a Wall Street Journal article claiming that Elon Musk's SpaceX sold all of its $373 million worth of Bitcoin. This is what Bitcoin Magazine was reporting, but I think this is a misinterpretation of the actual Wall Street Journal article, which is a little bit more ambiguous. And these things are always going to be ambiguous because SpaceX is a private company. It does not make public filings about its financials, but it looks like this reporter was able to get his hands on something. And this is the actual quote from the Wall Street Journal. The documents also show SpaceX wrote down the value of Bitcoin it owns by a total of 373 million last year. Again, this is different from selling it or dumping it, as Bitcoin Magazine claims. This is just an accounting thing that needs to be done. But of course, the value of Bitcoin already declined. This is just an accounting notice of that happening. Either way, the documents show that it wrote down the value of the Bitcoin it owns by a total of 373 million last year and in 2021, and has sold the cryptocurrency. This syntax is a little bit wonky. It's hard to understand what's going on. So it's unclear whether SpaceX sold all of its Bitcoin or some of it, or just took a write down on its Bitcoin holdings. We don't know. Either way, it doesn't really matter because Elon Musk, as he's shown over the past 2 years, doesn't really understand Bitcoin. He's been an L force for the space, in my opinion. He got a lot of people into DOGE and SHIB and related dog coins. And he's definitely been a net negative, I would say, for Bitcoin. We understand that he doesn't understand Bitcoin because of this classic DOGE tweet. DOGE speeds up block time 10x, increases block size 10x, and drops fee 100x ideally, then it wins hands down. This shows a complete lack of understanding of what final settlement means. When you understand final settlement and how difficult it is to rewrite the chain, you understand, as we learned from howmanycomps.com, this website, that Doge is actually 9 times slower than Bitcoin. Bitcoin really has no more competitors left in the proof of work arena now that Ethereum threw in the towel and moved to proof of stake. So what Elon thinks about Bitcoin doesn't matter. He's a very intelligent person. He's a very wealthy person, but he has been a net negative for Bitcoin, in my opinion. Either way, Bitcoin's been trading sideways for the past couple months in a very, very tight range. So I suppose it was inevitable they would either break out to the upside or to the downside, but it's broke sharply to the downside, trading below the 50-day moving average and now trading below the red line, which is the 200-day moving average. This is a great place to be accumulating more Bitcoin. And part of this news story, what it did is it triggered a lot of stop losses, a lot of liquidations that may be options related. Either way, crypto traders hit by 1.04 billion in liquidations, so crypto and Bitcoin. There's an article from QCP Capital, which is linked to in this article, which I'll link to in the description notes below, saying that there was a lot of these liquidations happened on crypto options exchanges, Deribit and OKX. And so there may have been hedging that was going on as some of these options got closer to the money, for example, some delta hedging going on. Either way, it doesn't really matter. This is more a problem for short-term traders who don't understand the value of Bitcoin and how you should just be dollar cost averaging and accumulating it over time if you really want to increase your wealth and your purchasing power. The move down in Bitcoin's fiat prices obviously hit Bitcoin hard. It's hit XRP even harder. And now if you look at the XRP Bitcoin exchange rate, XRP has basically retraced a lot of the way down from its Judge Torres ruling win. So again, mean reverting back down, and XRP again losing value against Bitcoin. I thought Benjamin Cohen had an interesting tweet here saying, remember, this Bitcoin correction has always happened in August and September of the pre-halving year. Again, the Bitcoin halving happening in April or May of 2024. It happens due to a seasonal correction in SPX, which is the S&P 500, to the extent that Bitcoin over short periods of time remains correlated with the S&P. It's actually, that correlation has been breaking down depending what time frame you look at. But to the extent the entire market dumps and bonds dump and stocks dump and risk assets dump, then you can get a Bitcoin dump as well. Again, this correlation will not last forever as people understand that and learn that Bitcoin is the real safe asset that you should flee to in times of corrections. But this is an interesting chart showing that you get these corrections at this time of year, especially in the pre-halving year. As I pointed out in previous videos, August and September are two of the weakest months when it comes to the U.S. stock market, when it comes to the S&P 500, as I'm quoting here from Ed Yardeni's publication. Marginal returns for the S&P 500 in August are less than 1%. And then September is the really bad month. People think about October being the bad month where we got the 1987 crash and the 1929 crash. But there's something about this end of summer, traders in the Hamptons, low liquidity, etc., that you often get violent moves and financial crises happening in August and or September. I think it was September when Lehman filed for bankruptcy, etc. So we could expect a downdraft. Again, I have no insight and no one really knows what the short-term path of the U.S. stock market will be, or the short-term path of Bitcoin. And so I prefer to just hodl and continue to dollar cost average. But for people who want to time this, which I think is a mistake, these are seasonally weak months. And as Benjamin Cohen points out, this can be a problem at this time of year, especially. There are only 4 data points here, but in the pre-halving year in August and September, you can have these drawdowns in Bitcoin, which is, of course, good for long-term holders who are still looking to increase their holdings. And to the extent the fiat price of Bitcoin is lower, it means we can all get more sats for our dirty fiat money. The most important point here is that Bitcoin continues to make its way from weak hands to strong hands. And those strong hands are highly ideological Bitcoiners like myself and probably yourself, who run their own nodes and help to enforce the consensus rules. And this is how Bitcoin fiat price dumps help to strengthen the protocol and its social layer over time. People with weak paper hands like Elon give their Bitcoin over to people with strong hands, with diamond hands. And over the long term, we'll continue to see this pattern where capital will continue to flow from the weakest forms of money, from altcoins, from shitcoins, from fiat, to the apex predator of all assets, and certainly the apex predator of money, which is Bitcoin. This is something that, as I mentioned in previous videos, holders of weak fiat currencies like the Argentine peso or the Turkish lira, for example, have a much better understanding of why you should hodl. There's no rational time to convert your US dollars back into Argentine pesos. There's no rational time to convert your US dollars back into Turkish lira. Likewise, there's no rational time to move your Bitcoin savings back into fiat, either to take profits or to take a loss, quote unquote, because Bitcoin stores your economic energy so much better than fiat, which stores your economic energy like a melting ice cube. So this dump down, we don't know how far it's going to continue. We have no way of knowing, but either way, it's an amazing gift to Bitcoiners so close to the halving. And it's just cheap sats, cheap satoshis for those who understand what's going on. I want to leave you with an image from Alan B. Watts here. I love this meme. Them, so you just save in Bitcoin and focus on your craft. Me, it's a peaceful life. And I think this is how we should all approach Bitcoin. You just keep dollar cost averaging. You don't worry about the fiat price volatility, and you focus on spending time with your family and friends and honing your craft, rather than being a shitcoin trader who's always glued to a screen, who doesn't have a life, and who will continue to underperform Bitcoin hodlers. Just save in Bitcoin and focus on your craft, and your life will be much more fulfilling and much more peaceful. If you found this video helpful, be sure to hit that subscribe and like buttons. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I publish my next video. And let me know your questions and comments in the comment section below. Thanks all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.